I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried for this movie, but now that I've actually seen it, I'm starting to think it's gonna be a national tragedy if we never see Chris Pine shred the loot again. I need more, man. What's up, guys? I'm Sully, and today I'm very excited because we're talking about the new fantasy movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. All you need to know is that the story goes like this. A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. So I feel like anyone that says they don't like Dungeons & Dragons either is lying or just hasn't really played it all that much, because at its core, it's kind of impossible to dislike. You can transform it into any kind of experience you want it to be. That's basically the whole point. I've been playing D&D pretty seriously for the last few years now, and my only regret is that I didn't start doing it even sooner. In the campaign I'm in the middle of right now, I'm playing as Buckle, the dwarf barbarian. He's strong as an ox and handsome as hell, so he's pretty much exactly like me. Art imitating life yet again, I guess. But all that being said, I feel like I'm pretty much just the perfect demographic for this movie. It's not even funny. Like, I love fantasy adventure movies. I love D&D, but I'm still able to see both sides of the coin here for people that categorize themselves as one of those things or the other. And I'm happy to say that whether you have a ton of knowledge of the game or none at all, this movie is a blast from start to finish. I actually have no idea how they balance this shit out so well. There are tons of callouts and references here to certain items, character types, and mechanics that will make nerdy-ass guys like me appreciate that this movie was made by actual fans of the source material, but it doesn't do it in a way where it feels like they're shoving it down your throat and confusing the hell out of you if you've never rolled a 20-sided dice before. I give them major props for that, because appealing to a hardcore fandom and somehow still remaining accessible is no easy thing to pull off. And keeping with that theme, this movie just does so much right when it comes to balancing all of the action, the comedy, and the world building. Like, you definitely will not be bored with this one. The characters exploring and shooting the shit is just as entertaining as seeing them fighting off a chubby-ass dragon. All of the actors in here are perfectly cast in their roles. It makes total sense that Chris Pine would be the overly charismatic bard, and Michelle Rodriguez would be the barbarian that doesn't sugarcoat anything. My hat is off to the casting director here. And on a side note, I thought for the most part, the visuals were right where they needed to be for a movie like this. There might be a wonky shot or two, but for the most part, everything fits well in this goofy fantasy adventure setting. If I were to mention anything that this movie does a little too much of, I'd say that there is a hearty dose of exposition in here. They really like giving every character that we meet a bit of time to explain their backstory and how they came to be where they're at right now. Again, this is what happens in an actual game of D&D, so it didn't bother me all that much. But from a pacing standpoint, that's where this movie might get bogged down for some people. But keeping in line with that, this movie just does a really good job of mimicking what an actual D&D campaign really looks like. Like, if you've ever played before, you know you're met with an obstacle. There's a million and one ways to get past it, and if you don't think quickly, you're pretty much just dead meat. And more often than not, plan A, B, and C that you drew up are gonna leave you up shit's creek without a paddle. It never goes the way you planned, and that comes through here perfectly. At the end of the day, though, I mean, this just has everything I want my big budget fantasy adventure movies to have. Fun characters, interesting scenarios, and a world you actually want to spend time in. I'm praying this one kills it at the box office and people respond well to it, because this world has so much potential to become a super entertaining franchise. Like I said earlier, much like the game itself, you can shape any future movies to be anything you want them to be. And I almost feel like this franchise would work better as an anthology anyway. I definitely enjoyed everyone that was involved with this project, but since it's a tabletop game where you usually embody a new character every time you finish whatever big adventure is in front of you, it's the perfect setup to bring in a totally fresh batch of actors with every entry if you want to keep things from getting stale. Good days ahead for D&D fans. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves gets a Sully score of 4 stars. So that's my review of the new fantasy adventure movie. I'm gonna go buy a loot off eBay right now, I swear to God. But let me know in the comments below if you're gonna go check this one out or if you've already seen it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you guys at the next video.